Hello and welcome to Our Experts Podcast. I am Carol Matichka, your host, bringing you fascinating perspectives from the world and realm of pharmacy. Hello, welcome. Today we have with us Stacy Hall, who is the CEO and Executive Vice President for the Florida Pharmacy Association. We have not had Stacy on with us before, so we're so excited to have her on our show today. So thank you and welcome to the show, Stacy.
Thank you, Carol, for having me. I'm really excited to be here today.
Absolutely. So I know our listeners would love to hear a little bit more about you, Stacy Hall. So could you share maybe a bit about your family, where you came from, and really, how'd you end up in Florida?
Sure. So I was born and raised in a small town in Wisconsin, Columbus, Wisconsin, a population of 4,000 folks. And about 3 years ago, my husband and my two younger children, I'm a mom of four boys, decided to move to the panhandle of Florida. And that's really how I came to live in Florida. My husband grew up in South Georgia. All of his family is in the panhandle of Florida, and I promised him that someday I would take him out of the snow. He had lived in Wisconsin with me for about 15 years, and we would move to Florida. And that's how we got here. And this wonderful opportunity with Florida Pharmacy Association came up when we were living over by Destin, and I said, "This is my dream job. I've got to go for it." And here I am.
And here you are. And I love Destin, by the way, too. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Um, so, what was really the spark that drew you to maybe professional organizations and finding a career in that?
Well, that's a really good question. I had worked for a for-profit national buying group for about 25 years and have always worked with the state pharmacy associations throughout my career at the buying group. And I just fell in love with what they did, the fact that the state associations were really boots on the ground, um, getting to engage with the members and really what's happening in the state. And so it was always top of mind that, wow, that would be just a dream job that I could really make an impact and work with members because I'm a people person. I love building relationships. And I thought, if something like this ever came in front of me, I need to at least try for it. And so that's kind of how I started with my love for associations.
That's fantastic. And you told us a little bit about your previous work before the FPA. Can you extrapolate a little bit on that and what you were doing before that?
Sure. So I spent, as I said, 25 years with a buying group, and they were a national buying group for independent pharmacies. So I happened upon this great opportunity to, I had just graduated college, and I have a business and marketing background, and I had an opportunity to work in procurement for sourcing product for independent pharmacies. And I went to my community pharmacy as a child with my parents, and thought, oh, this will be a great opportunity, and never knew that it would be a lifelong passion and career. I always say that pharmacy kind of found me. Once I started at the buying group, I worked, in procurement. I called on independent pharmacies. That was really my first real step into working in the Southeast, and just really progressed in my responsibilities um, throughout that buying group, and pretty much got to touch just about everything from working with pharmacy schools and students to succession planning, and running sales and marketing teams throughout the country. So it was really a really great step for me to grow my love for pharmacy.
Oh, that's fantastic. And then, of course, now you're here. We're so happy to have you at the FPA. Um, So what really drew you when you saw that? You said this was like a dream job, and I believe it. I love the FPA too. So what drew you there initially?
Well, I was familiar with the FPA a little bit, with my work at the buying group. But it was kind of the home base. That's where I really started to get out and talk with members. I had my family graciously moved to Chattanooga, Tennessee for about 6 years, and I was able to call on stores in the Florida market and just really loved the people. And when I got a chance to start meeting with the search committee and talking with some of the members, it just felt like a natural fit. And I was just drawn to what we were doing here at the FPA. I know, we were in a position where there was a lot of opportunity to grow and to change. And I really love to be in those positions where, we look at what's going on and how can we make this better and really meet the people where they're at.
Absolutely. And you mentioned it. There has been a lot of change in the FPA for sure. So, you know, how did you help in regards to that transition and that change? You've done so much. I feel like your positivity is phenomenal. So, just maybe what are your thoughts as you were moving into that position and seeing how there needed to be some different changes?
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing, I'm a big proponent of everything, stems from leadership. And I really wanted to take a look at our internal culture, and that it didn't just mean like the internal staff at the FPA, but what our committees and councils were doing, what our board was doing, and really start to change that culture. It wasn't a bad culture. It just, let's change it to a positive culture, to where we want to listen to our members. This is a great place for people to come together, to learn, to educate, to really build a community. And that was one of the things that I was really drawn to, was just the history, the tradition of the FPA. And I really wanted to bring some of that back. And so I really feel that everything has to start internally. I tell my team regularly, that everything starts from within. Whatever we do internally projects externally. And so we have to always project excellence. And I feel like I've got a really great team and a great board and leadership at all different levels. So, to me, it's all about the culture. That's where you need to start and kind of from there build what needs to be changed or tweaked, to
Sure.
move forward.
Oh, that's great. I love that. So, what do you do to learn more about the profession? You're not a pharmacist by trade, but that's okay. I think sometimes that's great too, having somebody else. You've certainly had several years working within pharmacy, decades really. But what do you do to constantly keep yourself up to date with pharmacy too?
Well, obviously I read a lot. I network a lot. I've been around pharmacists for, well, going on probably 28 years now.
Right.
And so I really hone in on those relationships and connections. And I'm not afraid to ask questions or to always learn. And I think that's one of the biggest things that you can do as a leader, especially not being a pharmacist, is being open to learning and surrounding yourself with people. And this might um come across kind of funny, but I always surround myself with people that know much more than me, so that I'm constantly learning and I can take back what I gather from them to the association. I also am very involved in NASPA, which is the National Association of Pharmacy Associations. So I connect with 49 other state executives across the United States. We all share information and support one another. And I think that's a big part of my success, and any real estate exec. Association exec success.
I agree 100%. So that's great. So, what do you see as a vision for the Florida Pharmacy Association?
Oh, that I love that question. So, that's probably one of my
The
favorite
million
parts
dollar
of
question.
the job. We just wrapped up our 3-year strategic plan at the end of last year. And it's really focusing on, membership, advocacy, of course, sustainability. That's a really big one. You have to have sustainability in everything you do. And so when we focus on that, it's really looking at not only how do we support, just the pharmacist or the technician or the student or the pharmacy professional in their work life, but also in their personal life. So I like to say, how do we support those professionals and the whole professional? So work-life balance is, that term's been around for a long time, but it's really near and dear to my heart. Um, Everything's changing so fast, from the way that we provide education to professionals to the way we network at trade association events. It's how can we look at things a little bit differently, and really, as I said before, meet that pharmacy professional where they're at. And it's not going to be a one size fits all, but I want the FPA to really be the place where somebody's up in the middle of the night and they're worried about something. Well, I'll call the FPA and they'll be able to direct me. That's what I want the pharmacy association to be. And so I think there's a lot of great work to be done, and I think we have a good foundation to move
Absolutely.
forward. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're not changing, you're not growing.
you're,
So
you're
we're
right.
gonna keep moving forward.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, and if you're not changing, then you're not moving forward. The practice of pharmacy is really changing very quickly too. And so, where do you see that going? Especially when you're talking to members and talking to others, what do you see in regards to those types of changes?
Yeah, so I think the changes are coming quickly. I've seen it for a long time where we need to continue to evolve and adapt to the needs of, I'll put my sales and marketing hat on, the customer, the consumer, the patient.
Sure.
And I think those needs of our patients are changing. And you know pharmacists are the most accessible healthcare provider. And so I see that the practice is changing. There's a lot of innovation in how they connect with patients, whether it's in person, it's virtual visits. um, you know there's a lot of opportunity to evolve from what we've seen pharmacy maybe 10 or 15 years ago do. And so I think we're going to see more patient centered care, more access to pharmacists, and we're going to see pharmacy continue to evolve to that already go to destination.
I I completely agree, and I'll give you a story of actually what happened last week, and I was sitting there thinking, this is what I think pharmacists need to do is be that accessible person. So last week, I came down with the flu. I was able to go to the pharmacy. Now we have the 3-in-1 tests. I tested for COVID, flu A, flu B, popped
Mhm.
flu B, and I was sitting there thinking, I would love to go to my local pharmacist. I am a pharmacist, but go to a pharmacist and the test and treat that we have the ability to do and be able to get Tamiflu right away because, the sooner you get it, the better. We haven't done a good job of people in the community knowing not only that pharmacists can do that, but also where, at what pharmacy can they do that? I don't see the advertising. I don't see the information out there. And I think with the younger generation, they do want things quickly,
Mm.
and they want to have that access, and they want to be able to go somewhere. So and maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the one who just doesn't see where all the advertising is and which pharmacies to be able to go to. But I was able to pick up my phone and go right into my app and literally get a clinician on the line immediately. A PA came on with my United Healthcare, and they were able to see the test and give me the Tamiflu. But pharmacists can do this. And so I think we do need to do a better job of that. I agree with you that it's evolving quickly. People want to have that pharmacist very quickly able to be there and help. Anyway, I just wanted to tell that story because it just
Yeah.
reminded me of how I feel like we really can do a better job of all, making sure people know what all we can do. So,
Absolutely. And I just want to add, this is where I think that the FPA can really help too. It's consumer awareness. I feel
mhm,
like if we get the consumers even more educated and use the FPA as the vehicle to say, hey, your local pharmacy can do this for you. You need to
right.
connect with your pharmacist and be that conduit that connects that consumer with that provider. I think that that's where we need to go as well. So I agree with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, okay. And then we talked a little bit about the FPA. How do you feel the FPA or the spot that the FPA is in right now? Like I said, there has been a lot of change. So how do you feel? You're a very positive person, which I love, and I'm very positive, as well. So, what are your thoughts in regards to the direction of the organization?
I think the direction is very bright. Last year I just celebrated my year with the FPA at the end of February, and I really feel like last year was kind of righting the ship, right?
Mhm.
Kind of recreating that culture, restating, the value that the FPA brings to the state of Florida. And so I feel like we're heading in the right direction. I really believe that it takes a village. It takes all of our members. It takes non-members to get in and join us to learn what the FPA is about. The more engagement and the more activity that we have from our members and vendor partners is going to make us stronger. And it's that old saying, there's power in numbers. And
Sure.
so that's where we want to be. But I do think we're heading in the right direction. I think we've got the right strategic plan in place. We've got the right partnerships. We're continuing to look for ways to be innovative, to support our members, to meet them where they're at. So I'm feeling really good about it. I'm always going to see the glasses half full, not half empty, and I'm going to keep pushing our members to see it that way. And we're going to do this thing together.
Yeah, professional organizations, I think, have really changed, especially post-COVID era. It's just things are different, but that's okay. This is where I think you coming in fresh, blank slate, being able to really help direct the organization, I think that's fantastic because, um, you know, organizations in general, like I said, have had a little bit of difficulty in trying to make sure that people are still coming together. I think that's finally improving quite a bit as well. So continuing to see that, I think, is really important. But I guess what are your thoughts in regards to the changes in professional organizations and how the FPA has kind of pivoted?
Yeah, so we are trying to pivot, and associations really have to look at and I'll use education as an example, just because when we come together for our annual meeting or the Southeastern gathering, there's a lot of focus on the education, and we're really pivoting to focus on the whole person, focus on family engagement, and that networking and sense of community component, because that's something you can't get via, a Zoom or a Teams meeting. You can't get that virtually. And so we really have to continue to evolve our in-person presence, and that's for all associations. We all
Right.
kind of struggle with it. So that's where we have to bring innovative content, but really hone in on the opportunities to network, whether it's bringing our members together for a community give back to where we are, hosting an event to, pharmacy professionals and students networking, joining together opportunities. And really, truly, and I'll constantly say it, bringing your families together. Your
Right.
families are a big part of what you do every day. None of us could do this without the support of our families. I know my husband and my children have been so supportive in my journey, and I want to share that with them. And I think creating these environments where we can all be in a place that really builds up that community is really going to strengthen what we do and strengthen the need for the associations.
I wholeheartedly agree. And just building that excitement again of, oh my gosh, the annual meeting's coming. I can't wait to see
Yes.
everybody again. I think that's such an important piece of it. So that's great. Thank you, Stacy. Uh, is there anything else I missed? Anything that you'd like to share with maybe some upcoming events for the FPA?
Sure, sure. So yes, we do have, I'm super excited about this. We do have our annual meeting is coming up in July, July 17th through the 20th. And it's everything I had just talked about. It's at the JW Marriott in Bonnet Creek in Orlando. So it's a
Great.
perfect place for us to launch, bringing families back together and sense of community. You don't have to be a member to attend. We want you to be a member, but we have a great educational program, but more importantly, it's about community and about family. I'm talking discounts on spas, discounts at Disney, you name it. We've built it into this offering. It's going to be fantastic. And then we have
Great.
our Southeastern Gathering in the fall. We moved that to a September event. That's in beautiful
Oh,
Destin. Love Destin. It's at the Henderson. Um, it's also a unique opportunity to come and relax and rejuvenate. So it's not like any of your other conventions. It's really great content, it's connection, it's community, and who doesn't love going to the beach in the fall? So
yeah,
we have
absolutely.
those events coming up if you want to get in person and really network with the FPA. And then we also have some educational opportunities that we're filtering between now and then, and really looking for a way to offer some more in-person opportunities,
Mhm.
because it's really important that we keep up that connection as we go through. So you'll see us pivoting a little bit with changes in what we're offering. We're going to be out and about throughout the state, and really excited about that.
That is exciting, and I absolutely love Southeastern Gathering. That is I love
Yes.
I love annual, but I think I like Gathering more actually. They're
Yes.
they're both
Yes.
fantastic, but for different reasons.
Yes.
Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your vision and some information with us. I think everybody loves to get to know you a little bit better, Stacy, so we
Absolutely.
just really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're super busy.
No, I love being here, and it's always great to catch up with you. And yeah, it's going to be a great year. So I thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So we again want to thank Stacy for coming on our podcast, and thank you to all of our listeners. You can really do us a favor and show us your appreciation by liking the show. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel. So thank you, everyone. Have a great one.